Hey everybody, I have a video here for you today, and let me remind you folks and for my new subs, I make videos in my free time, and that has been a little less lately. It's almost going to be 90 degrees every day here coming up, and the weather is getting beautiful, and just a little less time to make videos, but I still have ideas that are popping around in my mind. And it's funny what gets me to make a video. I don't watch a lot of TV, but there are a few shows that I do watch, and one of them that I watched recently really caught my eye and it reminded me of a video that I wanted to do. And really deciding which videos I'm going to make. I've made so many of them. It's like, what do I actually talk about? So I'm kind of going around to the places that I have not talked about. I have maybe showed, but not really talked about, and very important sites. And we're going to go down to one today, and that is El Mirador in Guatemala. Today we're going down to northern Guatemala, and this is one of the more impressive sites as far as ruins. Backing out here, you wouldn't know it. This is called the Mirador Basin. Now here is a video I did a couple years ago, and I just took Google Earth here and tried to line up the riverway here in the right side of the image, the upper right, and line that up with the Lidar image, and then just fade them together. And this will show you where the lost ruins are beneath the jungle canopy, and I thought this was pretty revealing. This whole area has ruins below it, but if you look overhead on Google Earth today, you can only see the tips of a few of the pyramids peeking out. But this gives you a good idea of the ruins here. You can see the riverway on the right side of the image, and that is what I lined up, and that kind of looks like a snake going through there, and that's what I lined up on Google Earth. You can see it there, and these are where these ruins lie today. Really, no clue of them if you were even right overhead. But under this area here, there are Maya cities in ruins, and the jungle has done an excellent job of just covering up ancient history in this area. But let's go over to some websites and some pics and some general thoughts. This is Ancient Wisdom. I will leave the link below. It says, El Mirador, the cradle of Mayan civilization. The Mayan pyramid complex of Mirador is being resuscitated from a near-death experience following thousands of years of assault by the jungles of the Guatemalan highlands. This fantastic temple complex is now realized to contain the largest pyramid on the American continent and probably the whole world in terms of mass. The Danta pyramid rises approximately 70 meters or 230 feet tall from the forest floor, and considering its total volume, 2,800,000 cubic meters, is now considered to be the largest pyramid in the world. And here is the whole structure kind of inlaid in the jungle, and what we see peeking out is maybe the top part right here. This is the only part that we can see today, but this is a massive complex, and the base is over 3 football fields long. But that'll give you a good idea of how much the jungle actually has covered up what some are calling, by mass, the largest pyramid structure in the world. Here you can see how big it is, and today just this little area up on top sticks out. So the jungle has done a good job of covering up some ancient history here and lost ruins. That is for positive. It says the Mirador Basin in the far northern Patan region of Guatemala is known for its abundance of sites, many of which are among the largest and earliest of the Maya world. Of 26 known sites, only 14 have been studied, and estimated 30 more await discovery. Since 2003, the Global Heritage Fund has been working in Mirador to protect its priceless ancient cities and monuments and preserve the site for future generations. But this is a massive complex. Some consider it the largest pyramid complex in the world if you take the whole structure into context. But today, this area, they are really worried about stuff kind of disappearing from these unprotected, really unknown sites. And then this is where the dollar sign and people exploring in here and just taking stuff out of here really comes into play. El Mirador was first discovered in 1926 and was photographed from the air in 1930, but the remote site deep in the jungle had little more attention paid to it until Ian Graham spent time there making the first map of the area in 1962. A detailed investigation was begun in 1978. To the surprise of the archaeologists, it was found that a large amount of construction was not contemporary with the large Maya classic cities in the area like Tikal and Uxatan, but rather from centuries earlier in the pre-classic era. And the pre-classic era is kind of a hazy era that the Mayan civilization springs out of, and how far back does that go, and what connections does that era have with a deeper antiquity civilization like the Olmecs? Well, that is all up for speculation and debate. As the civic center of the site covers some 10 square miles, or 26 square kilometers, with several 100,000 structures, including monumental architecture from 10 to 30 meters high. Most of the structures were originally faced with cut stone, which was then decorated with large stucco masks depicting the deities of Mayan mythology. It says, according to Carlos Morales Aguilar, the Guatemalan archaeologist, the city appears to have been planned from its foundation, as extraordinary alignments have been found between the architectural groups and main temples, which were possibly related to solar alignments. The study reflects an importance of urban planning and sacred spaces since the first settlers. And here you look at some Lidar imaging. Here it says the causeways, or sakbibs, the white roads. An additional feature of El Mirador is the quantity and size of the causeways, internally linking important architectural compounds and externally linking the numerous major ancient cities within the Mirador Basin during the latter part of the Middle and late pre-classic periods. These are raised stone causeways raising 2 to 6 meters above the level of the surrounding landscape and measuring 20 to 50 meters wide. One Sakbi links El Mirador to the neighboring site of Nakbi, approximately 12 kilometers away, while another joined El Mirador to El Tintal, 40 kilometers away. This causeway has been scientifically excavated, is the longest in Mesoamerica. This large concentration of pre-classic Maya cities in Mesoamerica is threatened by massive deforestation, looting, and destruction caused by equipment used in logging road construction, which itself facilitates intrusive settlements. Now here's the Global Conservation website, and it says Mirador National Park 3D LiDAR survey uncovers thousands of structures in 25 major cities. And I will leave this link below, and it goes over a lot of the LiDAR pics and how they do it here. But here you see the LiDAR imagery, and they have the buildings all kind of identified and located here through the imaging. Here is the Danta pyramid, here is the El Tigre pyramid over here, and those were meant to face each other, I guess, but hundreds of buildings, a lot of large structures. This is lost history under the jungle canopy in northern Guatemala. But what I thought was really, really impressive were these causeways. They connected cities that were 12, even 40 kilometers apart. And that is a long, long way. And there is still evidence. You can see underneath the jungle canopy clear evidence of one of these massive long causeways. One of the more impressive feats coming from Mesoamerica in my eyes. Just think of the time and effort it would have taken to build just one of these, let alone several. And they stretch for miles and miles through the jungle today, really unexcavated, just sitting there underneath all the growth. Now here's a look at the Danta pyramid, or what's just peeking out, and this is, I think it's 236 feet high, and this is the tallest structure on top of the main platform that is over 3 football fields long. And you can see in the background here is a pyramid, another one sticking out of the ground, and there is as many as a couple dozen really unexplored pyramid cities that are in the jungle here surrounding this area that have never really been explored. Now here is the Nitun website, and I will leave this link below. I have checked out a few of their stories, but here is a look at a group on top of the Danta pyramid, just what is sticking out of the jungle, the tallest pyramidal type structure on top of a huge massive platform. That'll give you some idea of how tall this is. I think it's 236 feet tall, but when compared to the other landscape, it gives you a view of the whole surrounding area here. This place has been totally swallowed by the jungle And here you see parts where they cleared and found some ancient stonework that they theorize maybe is 22 to 2300 years old, somewhere around its origin. Is this correct? Could it go back a lot further? Well, we don't know what's underneath these. Did the early Mayas built on top of something that was already here? Well, still a lot of questions. Here is a look at the El Tigre pyramid, an artist rendition, and these are very impressive ruins. How far back does the Mayan civilization go? Well, where does that evolve from? These are great questions. I have looked at the Egyptian text, and that certainly hints of a far earlier history than Egyptologists recognize, that is for sure. Well, the Mayan text, we know what some of those words mean. Can we put together a story that says whoever these people were landed on the eastern shore of Central America in 8050 BC, and that's where this whole culture came from? Do we have evidence of that? Well, I may be going into that in the near future. Now, this is the journal by Intrepid Travel, and they have some pics here, but this place, this whole area has ruins in it. This will give you an idea of what you'd be trekking through if you went there. The view from on top of one of the pyramids. I guess some of these stones are placed in the long way, so just the ends of them are sticking out instead of the bigger facing of the stone facing the outside of the pyramid. They're placed kind of long ways in, and that's fairly unique. Here is Lonely Planet. I will leave this link below. Also, it says, visiting the lost city of Guatemala's El Mirador takes time, planning, and money, but the payoff for those who make the trek is sublime. The chance to see one of the most impressive gems of Maya culture. The unparalleled vistas nestled deep in the Patan jungle in Guatemala provide a glimpse back in time. And here is one of the structures that they have uncovered, and these are early Mayan ruins. Now, the earliest Mayan period is kind of like the pre-dynastic period in Egypt. I think it's called the pre-classic Mayan period, and it's kind of a mysterious past that the Mayan civilization evolves out of. But we have ruins coming from this period, and just how far back this time goes and where this period actually came from is a mystery still, I guess. And here is one of the glyphs. An interpretation on this. Well, that is certainly an interesting one. But going on here, it says, there is something disconcerting about seeing such elaborate artwork and decoration in a place still covered with roots, vines, and rubble. Perhaps it's a cautionary reminder, and through the study of history, we can predict the future. Maybe this will be us someday. Here is one of the pyramid structures. It says the ascent, unlike the pyramids of Giza, which rise out of the sand from base to tip. Unbroken, El Mirador's pyramids are constructed in sections. First, I climb up onto a fairly wide base, still totally covered in jungle. Were it not for the guide, I'd have never known it was man-made. From there, it's up to a midsection. This has a real pyramid feel to it, though it's still largely untouched. Finally, panting and sweating, but excited, I see the last section excavated enough that you can see the individual stones appearing through the trees. Here you look at the top of these pyramid-type structures, usually 3 of them on large platforms, but you get a little better idea of what you're actually on top of when you're near the top. It says, like many ruins in Guatemala, this one has wooden stairs leading up the side, reducing the chance for human foot traffic to destroy the stones. But by the halfway point, I'm above the tree line, able to see glimpses of the vast jungle below. A few minutes more, and I've reached the top, a windy, sun-scorched apex with a 360-degree view. The land is pristine, still belonging to the jaguar, ocelot, the tapir, and coyote. Somewhere to the north, Calakmul is visible on clear days with a telescope or a good pair of binoculars. The guide points out other bumps in the landscape. Those are ruins too. I wonder what it would have been like to have been here centuries ago to see the region filled with thriving towns and cities and hundreds of thousands of people. And here is the website for the Global Heritage Fund at El Mirador. It says Mirador was the birthplace of the Maya and the cradle of their civilization. From the monumental pyramid of Danta to the epic Popol Vuh frieze, Mirador is a shining emblem of the Maya cultural splendor. They have a video attached here. Here is an artist rendition of what this place looked like in its original glory. Here are some little sculptures of heads, maybe some birds, maybe a head of a snake there. It says the Mirador Basin in which it sits contains 4 of the largest and oldest Maya cities, all larger than nearby Tikal National Park, El Mirador itself, Nakbi, Tintal, and Wakna. These ancient places of worship, gathering, civic importance, and sacral splendor are the last remaining relics of a highly evolved and complex society. Their preservation is integral to the full tapestry of the human story, and we hope that you will support it as we continue to protect this priceless heritage. And I will leave the Global Heritage Fund website below. But the rulers coming from a little over 2,000 years ago, the early period of El Mirador, and really the pre-classic period of Mayan history, they were known as the Snake Kings, and I'm not really going to go into too much of that in this video. It's getting long enough already. But really at the same time period, we went into this in my Ancient America series, the Mound Builders, those rulers, a lot of the same imagery. The Snake Kings, there was snake imagery all over Ancient America, of course Serpent Mound, same time period, same symbolism. But here is the location, and that is in a few of the websites I will leave below. Can't really see anything till you get right down near the surface on Google Earth, but that is my video on El Mirador. I hope you thought that was interesting, and you all have a very nice day.